All right, so now we are recording. So there's so much more to look forward to in this new month, and is also going to affect the way we do our setups, the way we carry out our trading. Now, number one to notice is we started this whole month with the Silvergate fraud, and I talked about that last Friday. Silvergate basically processes a large portion of the whole crypto payments for companies like Coinbase, Binance, Crypto.com, and a lot of all these other big guys, and Bybit, and so many much more. And if you're following any of this exchanges channel, you'll notice they've announced they're no longer receiving or transacting in USD because they can no longer use Silvergate because there's a problem with Silvergate as it relates to their liquidity. And Silvergate claims to be exposed to FTS in a very, very large way. So that alone is a big hit on crypto already this month. And while we're still looking at that, thereabouts 14th, 15th of this month, we're going to have the funds that were had in Midgauss hack since about 2/12 to 17 is going to be potentially released to the owners. So you're looking at BTC that were bought at about $100 or $50, $200 hitting the market this month. So a lot of those users who are going to claim their BTC this month could probably be selling. A lot could happen. So that's why you see the market is not moving. People don't know what to do. They don't know what to expect. And we're going to jump into the charts to look at all of those. You see, Bitcoin is stagnant. Nobody knows what to expect. If those guys who receive their funds start selling, is it going to cause a lot of pullback in the market, or what is going to happen? We already got the first dump as a result of the Silvergate fraud. Now we're going to have Midgauss coming into view in the next 1 week. And then we also have so much Binance fraud that is regular, SEC looking into Binance, these days Fed doing that, and all of those who so many news with Fed asking for regulations, and so many stuff is happening this month. So it's a month where our setups are going to be quite different because we want to really trade carefully. Now, what I do expect to happen this month is one or the other, is that the month marks the low of the market, at least for now, is that we finally hit the low of the market into a hyper bullish move. Now, if that do happen, that we hit the low of the market, which we're going to see where are the lows of the market. If that do happen, we're going to have a super bullish market. And at that point, if anyone is short or you've not closed the short position, you won't even have the opportunity to close it because it's going to be straight on liquidation, because the market is going to move super really fast. Now, if we don't have that breakdown, it could also imply that we've already hit the bottom of the market for now, and we start having the push up right away. Now, there's a lot of temptation in the market, a lot of temptation to short the market. People are looking at all of I just listed: Silvergate, Midgauss, Binance, Fed, SEC, all of this whole stuff, and people just want to short the market. Now, as tempting as shorting the market is, you want to understand that everybody already understands that everybody wants to short, and the market doesn't move where everybody is moving. The market moves where everybody is not moving. That's how the market creates liquidity for itself. So everybody understands that everybody wants to short because everybody had the same news. Now, as much as news can power the markets to move in a particular direction, that mostly happened when the news came unaware, like the Silvergate, like the Midgauss, like those just pops in. But for news that we pre-announced there, people already know ahead that this is going to happen, like when everybody was expecting Ethereum to blow up to 10,000 because of the new Ethereum protocol. Everybody already knows about it. The whole market knows everybody wants to long, and the market did not move in that direction. Instead, Ethereum kept going downward. So you want to be careful with short. Now, to be on the best or safer side is that you actually want to follow where the market is going long term, not where it is going short term. Now, short term, we could see the decline, we could see the dump, like I explained, but where is the market going forward to long term? So we want to keep that in view as we look through the charts and our setups for today. All right. So last Friday, we took a couple of trades. We're going to start with those trades, if they need improvement, and how far those trades have gone. So a couple of trades we took last week. We're just going to head straight into those trades, and let's see. So first, we took the BTC trade, we took the EOS trade, and we took the Wi-Fi trade. Now, among all of this, first we had Wi-Fi that just finally completed its trade cycle there about an hour ago, and that's super amazing. That gave us a 50% profit from the entries on Wi-Fi. So if you took that trade, that is super, super amazing. Congrats, you made that profit. Then also we have EOS. EOS has been delivering a whole lot of profit already. That has been happening already. And EOS has done about 5 close of its trade, keeping us at 25% profit, but that is still open, that is still on, and the cycle is not yet concluded. Then we have BTC that has been super stagnant. It's not yet moving. We only have one cycle close in BTC, giving us a 5% profit, but that's just been it about BTC. So Wi-Fi was the most performing trade from Friday, super profitable. We also have the same on EOS. Now, if I go to my own Tafa, I go to profit. So I see all the profit raining over here. Wi-Fi, EOS, Wi-Fi, and we had some of Dodge, but very, very little. Dodge is a very ranging market, so we had some Dodge, but pretty little, but mostly they were on Wi-Fi and EOS. So that is totally concluded. Our Wi-Fi should be off by now, which leaves us with EOS trade. Now, first thing is all of our structures that we have, like I said, the movement of the market this week is going to affect how our settings goes and all the structures of our setup for this week. So if you still have those trade open like EOS, there's going to be a lot of adjustments to those setup. And then we also have BTC that has been super, super static. All right, so while we're going to jump into the setup for today, we're going to look through the market first. That's against what we normally do to jump right into the setup. Today, we're going to jump first, look into the market, see what the market is planning, what is going to happen before we move straight into doing all of the setup at the same time like we normally do. Now, first, I'd like to introduce what we talked about last week. That we're going to be starting something new that is called Real Traders Real Results. Now, the goal and the initiative for this is we want to start showcasing Tafabot traders to the community, traders who are already achieving super amazing results. We want to have a one-on-one with you. We want to talk about your result, talk about the challenges, want to talk about the improvements and all of those. And when we do that, we're going to share that with the community. And then we're going to share your referral link on our social media for other traders to be able to use your link, connect with you, and follow the trading system. So if you've been following this live calls and you've been taking these calls, you're making profit, you want to start indicating that. So you want to indicate in the chart, and we're going to pick some users based on how active you are in the meetings. We're going to pick some users, and then we're going to have that section with you to talk one-on-one about your trading experience. So that's something really, really beautiful, and it's going to go on all social media with your referral link so that anyone who watches your trade experience is going to see a sign up link from you to use right away. All right, so let's head back into the trade and let's see what is the market saying. So first, we like to see what has been happening with the money flow, and before we go into looking in what is happening with the several markets. Now, first in the money flow, we can still see that we've not been able to break outside the 11.5% money flow that we've been hanging on since, but as much as that is beautiful, it tells us that we should be expecting market going bullish again, Bitcoin going up, altcoin going up. But as much as that is super amazing, we want to watch out that if we do break outside that money flow, if we do break outside that money flow, there are a few things we want to watch out for. Number one is to see that there is no other money flow resistance happening in the market. It simply means if the market decides to break outside this money flow, it's going to break all the way through. Now, that is not so much of a good thing. So if that does happen, then we're going to see where BTC is going to be at that time, where several altcoin market is going to be at that time. So now this is what we need to prepare for. If the market does that, this is what we need to create our setup to be totally prepared for. Now, once again, I said the easiest thing for anyone to do right now, or the most obvious thing, is to go short, but the market do understand that you're going short and every other person wants to go short. That keeps you even in a higher risk long term. You could take some profit short term, but if that trade is not managed, it keeps you in a super higher risk because there's so much more low that the market can go, but there's a large way or a large area of high that the market can push forward to. So we see that in the money flow over here happening with USDT, and we go over to BTC. We see that BTC is already receiving new money flow into the market just because everyone can see that USD is already hitting its money supply zone. So people are already putting back money into BTC, but that's not sufficient enough. You can see the market is still not moving despite how much money is going right now into BTC. And we see the same thing with altcoin. Also, the altcoin market, money is generally not moving into altcoin. It's just stagnant. Means this could tell us that people are still very, very scared. They don't know what could happen there. So they feel better safe to put money into BTC for now and still wait to see the effect of BTC before moving into altcoins. So that is something that is pretty interesting. So like I said, we need to prepare for this whole large zone here. If the market does break out from that, the money flow, we're going to see a large dump that is going to happen. But that dump is what we need to create our setup for. So once again, today, we're majorly looking at hitting large zone setup. We're unlike what we did previous time. We're not looking at short-term zone. We're looking at the longest term zone and create those super safe setup that if the market does move in that direction of the long-term zone, we are super safe. Now, that's one thing we've seen recently with how well the calculator has helped Tafabot users is despite the large dump that's happened in the market over some market has done 30%, 40% dump, Tafa users are still so much more safe. I do acknowledge that there are still people in trades like them, but the market is still far away. It's still far away from where it does hurt their capital. Some persons like me, I'm also in Lena, and all of those that's taken up all the entries for now. And we do not want to put more money into this market. We trust that the market does that bounce. If it doesn't, we're going to look out for a way out of those trade. Now that gives the ZEM traders who took that over a week ago, and which is due to people taking trades that they didn't know was completed. But Lena is still one trade that we have on. We didn't take the little profit he gave before the market moved. So that trade is still totally fine. If I do open my Binance over here, you're going to find the Lena trade and the rest of them. So let's head straight Today also we want to look into BTC and want to look into the same market we traded. Now we've noticed that EOS is super amazing. He's been holding on strong despite the dump, same as Wi-Fi, and BTC of course is one of the most secure coins. So want to stick with those trades also for now. So all of our setups are still going to go back to creating a setup for BTC, for EOS, and for Wi-Fi. But our setup is going to be pretty different from the initial setup that we had last Friday. First is, what is BTC planning to do? First is to note that if the market does continue to dump, like I explained, based on the money flow, we are looking at BTC hitting first $21,200. Now, if that continues and the market still doesn't hold, which has a large chance of continuing because of the money flow is very, very thin going into BTC or altcoin right now, then we'll find BTC at $18,121. Now, if the market still decides to go more field, let's say mid-Gauss fund got into the market, let's say over how many billion got into the market, people started selling to cash out, that also is going to lead to further dump over here, keeping BTC at 15,700. But all of these are unlikely to happen. Because people who are going to be claiming their fund from mid-Gauss also knows that the market is super low. They also want to hold for when the market goes up to make the best of profit. But of course, some other persons wouldn't care because they feel like, hey, I've held this for up to over 10 years, so that's fine. I just want to get out my money. This is 10 years right now. So we're going to find some persons who are going to sell, but for those with larger funds, I believe they're going to be holding. So once BTC hits this, now this is one pretty interesting thing to note. If any of this breakdown does happen and that marks the low of the market, it will never give you an opportunity to jump into a long or try to close your short if you're in a short. No, what the market is going to do is going to do a super fast week, and you could just see it touch that level, and the next thing you see the market did a 20% pump that you cannot explain how that happens, because that is always how the end of the market dump happens. Now, if you were following the crypto market all over the years, you're going to see this historically. See, even the time Bitcoin went from 11,000 straight into the zone of 3,000, and right away, if you did open a short there, that was it. The next 1 minute Bitcoin was already running at $7,000. The next day it was 10,000. It will never give you the opportunity to get out. The reason for that is the market knows there will be a lot of liquidation to clear out, and the market requires liquidation for liquidity. So that will not be a safe zone to be in. So you want to be so careful about creating short positions. All right, so after BTC, we're going to see if the BTC moves up, we're going to be seeing fourth zone at running 33,900, second at 25,000, and third at 28,700. Now from there, BTC could now start breaking into new heights. Then we have EOS over here. Now, at the point when we're going to see BTC breaking down to that level, altcoin also moving down, we're going to find EOS first zone at $1.1. And second, we're going to find it at 93 cents. And third, we could find EOS at 70 cents. So those are large zones that we totally need to be prepared for. But if the market goes in the upward direction, as we do expect, you're going to find EOS doing a 46% pump up to $1.7. Then again, we have the Wi-Fi, which has been pretty stable despite all the dump, the most progressive market right now. So we're going to find, if that does happen, you're going to find Wi-Fi at $6,700, giving it a 33% drawdown. And if the market does continue moving forward, we're going to see Wi-Fi in the next couple of days at about $12,600. So we want to cover up for the largest possible drawdown that the market can have. Now, to be able to do that, I did say in our live chats group that we've made several improvements to the live chats Martingale calculator. Number one is to cover up users with lower capital who could not take longer setups like this, and we had to create shorter setups for such users, which are not so safe. So for users who could not take longer setups like this, we've created a solution for you. And also for sports users, we did notice that a lot of users with very low capital started migrating into futures because they couldn't take most of the setups on sports as they require a larger capital to handle. So all of that we've also solved in the new version of Martingale calculator, allowing any kind of capital to take any kind of setup and also get the same results as everyone else. So if we head over to the Martingale calculator, for those who joined on Friday, you're going to notice that there were several setups you couldn't take, like the setups for Wi-Fi, the setup for EOS. It required you to put in much more capital into that setup. So let's just do an example right now. Let's try to create the same setup, EOS 23, 3.5. So I'm going to say I have $100 and this is 23, 3.5. And this is on sports, guys. Watch this. Futures guys couldn't take this setup with even $100 as at last Friday, but a lot of improvement has been made. And automatically, even a sports trader will be able to take even the largest possible setup and arriving at the same result as every other user. So it gives you a totally different configuration from every other person that still arrives at the same results. So if this was on futures and you were trying to cover up the same thing, so you can use the same capital on sports and on futures. And let's say a lot of futures users last time were tempted to go over 10S and the rest just to cover up the movement. Now let's say I want to cover up this same movement on a 5S. I will be able to do that because it's going to give me a totally unique configuration. That's super amazing. So I can cover up any kind of setup right now with a new calculator. If yours is not showing this, you want to clear your cache, you want to refresh it, and it's going to be with the latest version of the calculator. That gives you a totally different setups that arrives at the same result. So good news is that today everybody can take the setup, spot, futures, any kind of capital, even as low as $50 will be able to take any setups that we're giving from today. If you're excited about that, please let me know in the chat. I'm super glad to hear. All right, so let's head straight into creating the setups for today. And something to note is we're going to start with our BTC and EOS setup. And if you already have that open, like I do also have the BTC and EOS setup open, what we're doing is not to stop the bot. What we want to do is to update the setup to run with a totally different configuration. So the same trade, you don't need to go to your exchange to close up the trade. The trade is going to remain on your exchange, but right now it's going to use a totally different setup. So let's head straight into our app. First is for BTC. You can see in your screen. You might want to take a screenshot if you want. You want to do the setup right away. So I'm going to go to my bots for BTC. Another thing we want to note is we want to also use the lowest possible levels of leverage this week. It is very, very vital. I'm glad that we've updated the calculator to allow even the lowest capital to be able to take any kind of setup. So you don't need to over leverage. Remember, it's a very crucial month. You don't need to over leverage this month. So your leverage setup has to be super, super tight. So let's get started. This is going to be our setup for today. First is for BTC. We're covering the largest zone. I still have my BTC open. So let's go over to the chart. We're covering the largest BTC zone over here, and that is at 29%. So you want to create that right away. Price movement BTC 29, average 2. So if you go straight to the calculator, 29, enter 2, and it gives you a fresh setup. This is my BTC over here. We did take a lot of profit. Right now is in some other trade that's not closed yet. So I'm going to edit the setup just like this. I put in $10,000 capital, and I did a 10S on BTC last time, giving me $100,000 position size. Now, I really don't want to do that with the current flow for this month until that change. It could change in a couple of days, and then we'll review the setup again. But now, first thing I want to do is pull down my leverage to 5. So you also want to do the same thing. I'll just head right back into the calculator. Okay, so if you did have a large leverage setup, you want to break that down. Now, I could still go for a 10S on BTC, but due to the capital size and position size I'm willing to go on BTC, I want to break such leverage down. So for BTC, I'll be doing a 5S, and we're going to get what is the new structure for our setup right away. So all we're doing is updating the setup. It's going to continue the trade that you already have running, like I do have one running, and our take profit ratio is still 1. Our strategy period is still 10. Re-entry is still the same, but something different is we have today is the risk preference. And the essence of this is if the market does goes to 0, which is nearly impossible, but we have to be prepared. If it does go to 0, we want to secure our capital. So we switch our risk to conservative, and I'm going to explain how that works and how to give the best conservative settings. So let's head straight first into getting all our setups. If you've not done that, I left it purposely in the screen to make sure you already caught that. Price movement BTC 29, average 2. Make sure you've already copied that. I'm going to head straight into doing mine also. 29.2. So my capital 29.2, leverage 5. Calculates, it gives me this totally new setup up to 14 entries. That is super amazing. So initially we had just 7 entries. You see the whole difference. Okay. So I switch my entry into 14. This is the price movement again for those who have not gotten it. This is the average movement. Now my capital is different, is now 67.6. You want to switch all of that. Leverage is 5, take profit is 1, and entry configurations. Today, I have a different ratio setup from the price drop. That's pretty interesting. All right, so let's get this. 14, I have 16 over here. I have 18. I have 20, and I have 22. 22 over here, 24, 26, 28, 24, 26, 26, 28. And in the ratio, it's quite different today. So I have over here 1, I have 2, interesting, 3, that's amazing, 4, 5, wow. I have 6 over here. I have 7. and 8 and 9 and 10. I have 11 over here. 12 just to be short, 13 and 14. 13 and 14 and save. So every other thing is still the same. You want to use the new configuration. Now we have something new that is the conservative risk preference. Now, what this means is the bot is going to look to take you out of the markets if your setup fails without keep holding the coins for you in hopes that the market goes back up. Now, for guys who are trading sports and you feel like you really don't want to go conservative, you're okay to wait for the market in case it does go downward, and you could also stick with relax. But for futures traders, you do not have the whole liberty to stick with reserve because you do have liquidation once you are on futures. Okay, so how do you know what setup to have for your stop loss? First thing to note is the calculator is built in a way that if all your setups are in, you are only the average movement away from your entry. So what this means is if Bitcoin drops 29%, I will only be 2% away from Bitcoin price. That is super amazing, super unique. Now, understanding that if you're going leverage, the market multiplies your average movement to your leverage. So for example, I'm doing a 5S leverage, which is going to be 2 multiplied by 5. It simply means at the time where all my entries are in the market, I'm going to be losing 10% of my capital because I am leveraged on a 5S. Now, if I am not leveraged, I will only be at 2% of my capital. So that's one of the beautiful things about sports that is different from futures. So if you're leveraged, this is things you want to note about. You're going to be 2% away when Bitcoin is at $29. So if you are on 5S, you're going to be 10% away. So that now determines what kind of stop loss should you use. Now, if you're already 10% away, you want to give your bot liberty to bounce back. You don't want to create a 10% stop loss because that is saying when all my entries are in, shuts down the bot. That would be not a wise setup because you're not giving it a chance to breathe after your setup. So you want to create a whole different, something better off than when all the markets are in. So if all the markets are in, I'm on 10%, you now ask yourself, what is my risk appetite? How far can I go if this market keeps dropping downwards for my entry? Now, since I'm going to be at 10% for me, I want to stick with 15% market movement. So this is me saying that, sorry, this is on the take profit, not yet this on the stop loss. I want to stick with a 15%. This is me saying that, okay, if after 10% and the market doesn't bounce back after my entry, please shut down this trade and that will be fine. I don't want to be stuck in the market and the market goes to zero if that ever happens. Remember, we are preparing for the worst while hoping that doesn't happen. All right, so this totally is different for every user based on what I just explained. You want to determine what is your risk level. Let's take, for example, that you're on sports, means you'll just be 2% away from the market. And you say, okay, I'm ready to take a 5% stop. So yours could be 5%. Why? You're not leveraged. Yours could be 4%. So if I am not leveraged and I'm running sports or I'm running futures on a 1S leverage, I want to go for a 5%. That will be very rare, or even a 10%. That will be an extreme space that the market would really need to want to go to zero for me to be affected, right? So that's a beautiful thing. So because I'm leveraged, I want to stick with a 15%. If you're not leveraged, you want to go for something really better, but you don't want to go for the same average movement, and neither do you want to go for 3. You're not giving your trade space to breathe. All right, so my BTC setup is done. Let me be sure that you did follow that setup. This is the setup again. We're going to go to the screen. Next, we're heading into the EOS setup. And in EOS, same way, we want to cover up the largest possible movements like we saw over here in EOS at 34. Now, it is good to be clear that none of this largest movement might ever happen, but we are just being super safe if the market does go crazy, because we have a lot of reasons why it should go crazy. So you might not even see this happen, but we want to be super safe. Okay, so head straight into creating the EOS setup. If you do have EOS running just like I do, you want to also do the same thing like we did on Binance, just update the setup. My EOS took a lot of profit, is just at 1% right now. So this same is my capital on EOS, but we got to change the setup. EOS today, we're running price movement 34, average 3.3. So you want to note that down. So I have 34, 3.3 over here. And last time we went over about 10x leverage on EOS. We really can't do that with altcoins, considering what the market holds. So the maximum leverage is 5, means you can go even really lower. So my maximum leverage for me is going to be 3 on EOS for my capital. So it simply means at the point where all my entries are in, I'll be 3.3% away from EOS market movement. Multiply it by my leverage simply means I'm going to be about 9.9 thereabout in deficits of my total balance. But like I said, that might never really happen, but we'll just want to be prepared. So you want to create your setup or update your setup if you already have one running. Again, we're using conservative. Don't forget that, guys. This is going to be a super safe setup, but yet super profitable. If you didn't catch that again, EOS is 35, 3.3. You want to put that into your Martingale calculator and get the value for your setup. And once again, anybody can take any of the setups we now give. Even if you have $50 on spot, you can take the setup. Okay. Ratio. You want to make sure you're putting in that in. That's why we keep it in your screen so you do not miss any of the setup. All right. It's super amazing that over $250 million has been lost in the crypto market the past few days, and Tafabot users are not affected. That is beautiful. And we want to keep it that way. Nine 9.9, 8.3, 6.6. Entry 3, 4.9. Entry 4, 2, 3.2, and I have 1.6. Please make sure you took the setup. And like I explained again, you already know what's conservative and your stop loss should be. So save, and my EOS is updated. Once again, this is the setup. Make sure you did not miss it. You might want to take a screenshot. We are also going to share in the setup group right after this call. Next, we want to move to Wi-Fi. This is one of the trade that took the full 50% profit yesterday. Today, we're going to be setting it again, but with a totally different setup. So I'm going to look straight at Wi-Fi. Yeah, we have Wi-Fi. It did a $649 yesterday for me. That is amazing. Updates. Still going long. Everything is the same, but we want to get the new market movement. So we have 33 and 3. So I'm going to jump right into the calculator. 33 and 3. 33, 3. For Wi-Fi, the same. I really want to be low on leverage for now. So I'm going to go for a 3S leverage. Only BTC do I have more leverage. Right. So I have 33.8. You want to pick up the setup right away. We're going to start Wi-Fi right away. Entries 11. My leverage is 3. Configuration. I have 3, 6, 9, 12. If you do have questions, please send it right into the chat. I'm going to jump right in there after this setup. 24, entry 8, 24, come on, 24, 27, 30, and what do I have? 33. Okay, 1.5, 3. This is super amazing. 1.53. I have over here 4.5. As always, you want to be very careful when imputing the setup. You want to follow it to the latter, else you're going to be invalidating the whole setup. Okay, where are you? I have entry 7, that's 10.5. Entry 8, entry 9, entry 10, entry 11, 16.5. All right. We're going to head straight into checking the Zoom chat to answer all of your questions. 16.5 over here. Perfect. My setup is done. Rick's also is conservative, and I did explain that. If you didn't catch that again, I said the calculator is built in such a way that if all your entries are in, you're only the average movement away from the price. Simply means when Wi-Fi dumps 33%, if that ever happens, I'm going to be 3% away. That is beautiful. So that affects how I create my stop loss, considering I'm using a leverage, which is going to be 3 multiplied by 3. That is going to give me 9. So I want to say, okay, I want to give my trade about 6% more space to breathe. If the market still doesn't breathe after that, please, the bot, cut it off. I see a whole lot of questions already, and I'm going to jump right into it after I just start up my Wi-Fi bot so it can start printing in money for me. Okay. Okay, setup is completed. All right, I'm gonna keep the screen back so we can all see the screen, while I'm gonna jump into the questions for today. Okay. This is still coming up, Wi-Fi. I really do want to start you right now. Still taking a lot of load time. So just head back in here. So I'm going to keep this right in your screen while I go through the questions for today, just to be sure that you follow up all of the setups for today. There's quite a lagging on my app for today from the PC. So I'm just going to start right on my phone. Okay, so I have it over here. Perfect. Okay, that's done. So someone said EOS delivered 6 times, but now it's still holding in more trades. That is super amazing. Yes, we've also changed the configuration for EOS. EOS did a really good one. When we recorded, it was 5. I'm glad I'm just hearing that it has done 6 times. That is beautiful. So that is still running. We've updated the setup for EOS to deliver even more profits. Okay, all my bots are started, guys. Make sure yours is. Okay, I'm going through the questions. Why the setup are in your face? Someone said my EOS has been on floating and it hasn't moved since. So you want to ensure if you did take the setup when we posted it, then you should have done 6 times, just like the other user stated. Mine was 5 when I recorded. Some other users said they have done over 6. So if you did take the setup, that's one thing to note. You want to take the setup as at when it was sent. Now, if you did take it later on, that's why we put a timestamp that after this much time, please don't follow the setup. It should have already been done. Okay, so if yours is, you want to take the new setup, which we just gave, update your EOS configuration. You do not stop the bot. You're not trying to close the trade. You're just updating the configuration and it will continue. Someone said, great job. Yes, thanks. That is appreciated. Since said I've been following, and this is the most amazing part of Tafabot. I keep getting results with no single loss so far. I am super glad to hear that. Yes, these are reports that we want to see, and we want to have one-on-one conversation with all of these users, like the user who just indicated right now. We're going to take notes of that, and we're going to put that in view to have you talk more about your experience and how we could improve better on our real traders real results. Someone said, please, could you recap on EOS? Yes, the setup is right on my screen. Please, you want to copy that and create the setup. But I did talk about the risk preference and how that works. So those are the major parts you want to pay attention to. Every other thing is basically how we have always done the setup. Okay, someone said he almost got affected on ZEM because of how much ZEM moved. So if we look at ZEM, let's take a look at ZEM. That's an important one. So you're going to see that our ZEM setup was for the maximum move. Look at our ZEM setup here. It was for a 25% ZEM move. And exactly ZEM touched out and did a little bit drawdown from it. So if you did take any of the ZEM setup, I do expect that your ZEM can only be affected if you're not over leveraged. Please note, if you're not over leveraged and you use the recommended leverage of the 5S, then your ZEM can only be affected at this level, which keeps them at 34. So that's the only level that affects you. So we did cover up for all the entries. So if you're in ZEM, all your entries are definitely in, and ZEM is already picking off from that zone into the profit zone. So that is good stuff. But if you're over leveraged, you want to put in capital to cover up the leverage that you're already overrun. Okay. I'm going to go back to the setup screen for other users who have not taken it while I keep going through questions. Someone said, please, could you help me check Phantom? I've been in the trade and it's pretty down. Okay, that's not part of the trade that we've done. Phantom, that should be FTM, I think. We did do that a long while ago. Okay, we're going to see to that if we do have extra time. Let's just go through all the stuff. But if you're in any of those trades, they are pretty going to follow the same market scenario that we talked about during this class. So if you do follow those scenarios and apply it to whatever trade you're on right now, then you're going to be fine. Someone said EOS is already in deep. Please, how is it doing right now? Okay, I want to make that clear. When users say a coin is in deep, when you say a coin is in deep, means it has gotten into the trade and it possibly has not taken profit. Maybe you're seeing -1, -2, blah, blah, blah. That is literally what you expect when you go into the trade. When we create our setup, we create the setup for drawdowns. It simply means that drawdown should happen, would happen. And when those happen, you already created a structure to cover up for every of the drawdown. So when you say a market is in deep, means it's having drawdown that your setup already is covering for. So really, there's nothing you need to do. There's nothing you need to worry. If your EOS took profit this time, it has 3 more to go. And the one it is currently is still holding it because the market has not moved. That is fine. That is what should happen. That's how it works. That's how it should be. So that is not what to be worried about. You already made 6 profits, okay? Another question, same with the EOS that has not closed in the current profit of EOS. Still the same response. And you want to make sure you update the setup. Someone said, this is amazing. Thanks so much for the good work. Tafa to the moon. That is great. Another, this is so amazing. Other users, we are super excited. This is awesome. Thank you, Tafa. Super excited. A whole lot of awesome. Okay, that is beautiful. Someone said, can spots and futures be taken simultaneously for the same coin? Yes, you can do that. That is a super interesting question. You can trade BTC or any coin on spot and on futures, but you cannot trade the same coin on spot or the same coin on futures, but you can trade it on both. So you can create a position on spot and do another position on futures on the same coin. Yes, you can do that. Some users do that and use it as a way for hedging. but that is quite tricky because that also implies that at one point you need to be maintaining setup for both of them. If you're not, and you're just letting both of them to run just like that, you're going to get stuck at one point in one of them. So either you want to keep updating the setup, monitoring the setup, just like we do all of the time. Okay, someone said, great update. I also noticed the Martingale ratio now differs from entry. Yes, the Martingale ratios are now different from literally everybody, depending on your capital, your leverage, and the rest of that. It gives you totally a different setup. Someone said, this new calculator is bomb. You guys are the best. We're glad to hear that. Please, can we have the updated calculator? Yes, sir. Yes, it's the same link. Just refresh and yours should be running the updated version. That is all you need to do. So I need the calculator in the charts. Yes, the same. Someone said $100 setup, please. Yes, I did explain. If we check all through the setup we did, let's go back. This is the setup screen. The biggest setup here is EOS 34.3.5. So look at my screen. I'm going to do $100. 34, 3.5, and a 3S leverage like I did. I have a full EOS setup. So what if I'm a spot user? Let's do the same thing. I want to trade this on spot. $100, 34, 3.5. Okay, that's much for that. Okay, let's take it a little bit higher. I'm going to say $120 for spot, 34, 3.5. Oh boy, that is still a lot for spots. But if I take it on futures, even as 3S like we saw, that would be fine. 34, 3.5, futures 3S, and I totally have a setup. Let's even take it lower more, $100, 34, 3.5, and even a 2S on futures, I still have a setup. Super amazing. So down to a 2S. So if you want to take this setup and you feel like I want to do it on spot, then go on futures and do a 2S and you'll be fine, okay? You can go on futures and do a 2S on that same market. All right. That is for David asked for $100 setup. Good day, everyone. Okay. I don't know what you're doing wrong. Okay. This user senior, you want to make sure you're following all the daily calls. You were making profit on Smart Invest. Now this is Martingale. You probably must have been copying maybe this trader, that trader, using setup on your own. But right now we're committed to make sure we're giving each user the daily setup that is most profitable. So you want to make sure you're following the daily setup. We do post that on the Telegram channel. You also want to join that. Someone said, is Dodge still safe? Yes, Dodge is still okay. Why are we leaving it without stop loss? Let's look at Dodge. We have so much interesting questions today. We're really running out of time. We're going to look at a few more of them. So this is our Dodge setup. We created Dodge for the maximum Dodge can do, considering it is the most ranging market. So our Dodge setup covers up all of this zone. We are not making any update to it. There's no stop loss yet. It's still unrealized and it's totally fine. If the market does decide to go down, it is still totally fine for the Dodge setup. You don't need to change anything. Please, what do I do with the previous trade? I still on BTC EOS FYI. Yes, we did talk about that already. If you didn't catch that, please, you want to watch this video that will be posted on YouTube right after this call. Someone said, my Martingale ratio is totally different from what you have. That is correct. The Martingale ratio is taking into consideration different capital, giving you different setup, but you're going to get the same results as everyone else. So you want to follow what the calculator gives to you. Someone said, can you explain the bot setup I'm setting for the first time? Yes, there's going to be also a setup Zoom that's going to be happening today. So you just want to keep eye on the Telegram channel. It's going to be announced today that takes care of how to set up. This is more of how to create the setup that makes profits every day. But there's a basic of how to set up the bot that is going to be happening today. Someone said, help me review them. Yes, we already did. Wi-Fi minimum capital for all the market spot or futures is $100. Someone said, what setup can I use so I can close as soon as possible? Okay, let's do review that for Zem users. Like I showed you, if you're on Zem, you're already large into the bounce. Really, there's no other setup you want to do because you're already breaking outside of the dump zone, breaking into the profit zone over here. Once Zem crosses this point, which is about 0.441, it's going to go super bullish into this zone over here. And I believe that's where a lot of take profits are. So really, you don't want to do anything. If you did add some fund into Zem, you just want to keep those funds in there just like that. And you don't want to add more setups into that. The setup are done until Zem leaves that zone. For sports, someone said, should I use relax or conservative? Like I did explain, that then will be literally up to you. For sports, if you use relax, means you're saying, I'm willing to wait for the market to go back up, even if it goes bad. And that is still totally fine. But for futures, you really can't say such kind of thing. You want to go for conservative considering the market scenarios. Okay. Someone said calculator didn't accept $100. I want to believe that's for EOS. I'm just going to do that again. That happened with EOS, and I had to do a 2S leverage for Wi-Fi and BTC. That is totally fine. Let's do for BTC 29.2. So BTC, even sports for BTC $100, 29.2 futures. Let's say 2S, for example. Okay. That gives me that. I went to 3S, sorry about that, 29.2, 3S. I used my setup for this earlier, so that gives me $4. So 3S is totally acceptable if you want to do that on futures. Perfect. Today, we did capture a large portion of the market, so it's really hard for the calculator to place into all of those when we're capturing a 35% drawdown with $100. So you probably want to move to futures and do a 2S, and that would cover up for it. For sports, if we're doing things like a 20 drawdown, that will cover for it also. Stop loss for Wi-Fi, I did explain that already. The last setting on BTC from the live trading is still dragging. Can I shut it down? No. We did explain, just update the setup to the new setup over here. That's all. You don't shut it down. Just update the setup to this. You're not closing the bot. You're not stopping the bot. Edit, put in this new setup over here. There's so much question, but we really cannot take all of them. Okay. All right, Gravity, your complaint is noted. We're going to look into that. Someone said, reading through today's setting, what stop loss should I use? Okay, I did explain that. I'm using SEM 15%. Anything you do, I do. That's amazing. Jeff, if you want to do the SEM, then that is totally fine. You probably want to follow the SEM setup I did. Okay, the trade information is still in the screen. Pairs. You want to follow that. Someone said the live trading setup is helping me a lot today. Already I've made $30. That is amazing. Depending on your capital, that is beautiful. Throw some light on how to determine the stop loss. I came in late. I'm just going to leave this video on YouTube so we can watch because we are really out of time. Someone said EOS is already fast pumping. That is amazing. Someone said we are no longer allowed to use 10S on altcoin. No, I didn't say you're not allowed. I say for this setup, you should not use 10S. And I did explain why in the beginning of this Zoom based on what the market is saying. Someone said, what is the stop loss for BTC? Calculator is asking for stop loss. I did use a 15%. So you want to put 15 over there if you're doing the same. So stop loss for everyone. If you want to use the same thing I did a 15. So you probably want to take the same thing. Okay. Also, the user Sapol on GMT. I did explain the market scenario and what you need to do to cover up for those. There's just so many questions. But yeah, we're going to take more of this tomorrow. We probably won't leave here if we keep taking a whole lot of this question. Someone said my BTC just shut down as I updated it. It could mean that it took profit and it's going to continue. So that is fine. You don't need to do anything. By updating, I want to believe that you did not stop it. You just edited. So if you did that, that is fine. So if someone said Wi-Fi 15% stop loss, yes, that is okay. Once again, this is the setup and we're going to call it a day for today. And let's see how well the market moves. And tomorrow we're going to review again how the market is going. All right, cheers guys, and let's go make some good profits with Tafabot. Thank you all. Catch you all tomorrow.